We're driving an RDX. That is Acura's compact premium SUV. It has been updated for 2025.
First, here's how much the RDX costs.
I'll be honest, I haven't driven an RDX in a very long time, so I got into this thing, and first time I drove it was at night, and I was like, wait a second, it's like all cool in here. Like the gauges are all red, and like there's this illuminated speaker situation, and then I started driving, I'm like, wait a second, I really like this car. Let's talk about the interior. What's working for you here?
A lot of different shapes, textures, materials, color. I particularly like this trim. A little bit of shine and visual texture, but it doesn't show fingerprints and dust the way like shiny black plastic would.
We do have some shiny black plastic in here around the vents, but it's limited in its use. The thing that jumped out to me is this center stack. At first glance, it feels a little busy, but it's actually not that complicated.
With the exception of this True Touch interface, I found this so easy to use.
It's kind of a classic Honda Acura trait, which is like, where should that thing be? Well, then let's put it there. One of the areas that Acura has updated for 2025 in the RDX is this region, a little bit more console storage, this big conspicuous wireless phone charger, which I really like how easily accessed it is, but it's also got high sides, so nothing's sliding out.
There's also this under console storage.
You have larger cup holders.
And also they are of multiple heights.
Cortado mode engaged.
There's also room for a bottle in the front door, and in the back door, there is room for a larger size cup.
Now in the door storage, what do we think? Is this an actual sauce pocket?
Yeah, that's definitely a sauce pocket. It's at an angle. Ooh.
No, that's good. That'll hold it in place, and then all the sauce will pour out, but it's easy to clean afterwards based on materials. Bring your nuggets.
And your sauce rack.
Moving quickly from your sauce rag comment, let's talk about the seats. I found them to be very comfortable, very supportive, and in this trim, highly adjustable. They come in leatherette on the base model, but all other trims come with leather.
I really appreciate how adjustable and comfortable these seats are, and that it has generous side bolsters to hold me in place on our windy mountain roads.
And yet, as the driver, I'm not getting any intrusion with needlessly forward bolsters. The adjustable lumbar support, more than adequate for my generous lumbar needs. Seated behind my ideal front seat position, more than enough space for my average 5'10" American frame, long torso, tall poofy hair. Really, my only complaint in the back seat would be that there's no recline function. One area that really impressed me is that middle seat. I fit fine, but kiddo, how do you fit in that middle seat?
Great, because there's not really that much of a hump, and there's like a little cutout thing.
It's like scooped out so that even though you've got shorter legs, your knees intersect at the edge of the seat in a really great way. A seat scoop to go with your sauce rag. Oh, and kiddo, any issues climbing aboard the Acura RDX?
No issues here.
Moving to cargo space, we've got 29.5 cubic feet of space, plenty to work with. There are rear releases to fold down the back seats, and when folded, that's a very flat load floor.
There's also generous underfloor storage in multiple compartments.
By the way, if you go A-Spec, you get a tire repair kit, but non-A-Spec, you get an actual spare tire. And yes, that power hatch comes standard. Now, sweetie, what is the car seat situation?
There are 3 top tethers. There are lower anchors in the outboard position that are covered with a latch flap. I am 5'2" behind a workable front seat position for myself. There is room for a rear-facing car seat.
As for safety, the Acura RDX ranks 5 stars overall from the NHTSA. It is a top safety pick from the IIHS. We've got a full suite of active driver assist standard, plus 5 airbags. Family, what do we think? Is the Acura RDX family friendly?
Family friendly.
Rear window test. Not all the way down.
I said bye and I mean it.
Bye.
Bye. This time I mean it.
Armrest test, driving in a comfortable 8 and 4 position. I have very easy access both inboard and outboard. Even though we've got a little bit of stitching on here, I don't find it abrasive on my elbows, and the squish factor is really strong. 90% inboard, 95% outboard. Moving onward to style. It would take an astute RDX fanatic to determine the 2025 from the 2024 model. That grille is a little different.
I really like that grille, and the emblem is as large as a small child's face.
Is that too large?
Nope.
Kid says
Just
no.
right.
Just right then, I guess. Otherwise, there's a lot of sculpting outside on the body that I think works really well. I like being in the driver's seat here and looking out over the hood and seeing that sculpting. It's fun when you get little bits of the exterior style projected inward.
I really like, too, the line that runs from the rear along the taillights on the side.
It's a cohesive design, not too zany, but not too restrained. A couple of exterior details worth noting. Our A-Spec version has 20-inch wheels, but 19s come standard. It's kind of crazy that's a standard standard wheel. We also have 8.2 inches of ground clearance, which we're not taking this thing off-road, but if you live where we are, where we have snow during the winter time, being able to clear that snow before the plow comes out is really, really helpful. A couple of updates for 2025. There's a new solar silver metallic, a Canyon River blue metallic, and then this urban gray pearl. And I'm not sure if you can tell in the sunlight here, but that pearl really looks great. Speaking of colors, regardless of your color preference, Flying Eyes has eyewear to match. Today I'm wearing silver Kestrel aviators with these mirrored sunset lenses. Check this out, bendability. If you're curious how that unmatched bendability makes Flying Eyes ideal for pilots like me, but also motorcyclists or just motorists like you, click the link in the description below to learn more about Flying Eyes. If you use the promo code Micah, you can save 10%. Come, look at that pearl paint, it's so nice. Ooh. One minor complaint, there aren't very many no-charge color options. Most everything you get is going to cost a little bit extra. But overall, we're feeling pretty positive about the styling of the Acura RDX. What do you think? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Tell us in the comments. Moving onward to, oh, I didn't thank you. Thanks for watching this video. Moving onward to In Motion. Ride quality in the RDX is not abusive, but it is taut. But you can, in our version, because we've got adaptive dampers, you can go to different drive modes and you can really feel like it firms up or it softens up. In comfort mode, it does get a lot softer and you can kind of feel like exaggerated body movements when you do that. On part of my freeway drive home, I have a very chattery section, and comfort mode helped smooth that out, but it wasn't cloud-like. It was just a little bit smoother.
It's not cloud mode, man.
Give me cloud mode. No, don't actually give me cloud mode, because I like the fact that when you drive this thing around, there is a sporting vibe just based on ride quality. And then the question is like, okay, well, when I get to the corners, when I start coming up the mountain to our home here in the mountains, is it going to feel sporty? And I can't tell you how happy I am that it indeed is a very sporty feeling drive. And there are a few things contributing to that. Number one, this steering wheel. I love this steering wheel. Oftentimes steering wheels will guide you to a 9 and 3 position, which is the correct position for driving sportily. Ask any race car driver. But what Acura does that's really special is the backside of the steering wheel is perfectly contoured to accept your fingers in a curved position. So the way my hands land on the steering wheel is so satisfying. And then when you steer, it's a little bit slower on center, and then the more you turn off center, the quicker the ratio gets. It's not too reactive when you're in a straight line at high speed cruising, but then when you get into curvy bits and you add more steering, then it gets speedier reactions. It felt agile, and then also it's communicative in a way that encourages me to kind of approach the edges, without going over. And then, yeah, I have a pretty good track record. Further amplifying these sporty vibes is the fact that we have a true torque vectoring rear differential. Sometimes manufacturers use the phrase torque vectoring, and really all they're doing is braking a wheel to help redirect power to the other side. This doesn't do that. We can send up to 70% of available engine torque to the rear differential, and then from there, up to 100% of that power to the left or the right. So as you're coming through a corner, you start to kind of get towards the edge of what the tires want to do. Most vehicles will just go to the outside of the corner, but if you add power when cornering, that outside rear tire can help rotate the car around. I found it really engaging to drive, shockingly quick. I don't find the steering too heavy in sport mode. I also like the little graphic that pops up. It looks like I'm traveling through space and time at great speed. I'm currently cruising at a very sensible 22 miles an hour floored. Whee! We got prompt pull. There was no big turbo kick. It just felt like a good increasing swell of power. Floored from a stop, the RDX can go from 0 to 60 in a little bit more than 6 seconds. So more than ample power. The RDX uses a 10-speed automatic transmission. We have standard paddle shifters here. I'm gonna come to a stop. I've got it in normal mode, and I'm gonna depart and just see if the acceleration feels nice and steady. Foot is flat. Are we feeling any motion other than just the vehicle moving over the road?
No.
Very smooth shifts when you want them, and then if you put it in sport mode, it'll hold on to those revs a little longer.
Whee!
A little bit more urgency when you get those gear changes. So there's a bit of an adaptive nature here depending on how you want to drive. I'm going to come to a complete stop now for the Micah Muzio limo test. Let's see if I can be super smooth. And
little bit of a at the end, but you were on an incline, which is a real challenge.
I think that's within the margin of acceptability. The very last thought is that on my commute home, I was using the lane centering function and the adaptive cruise control, and I found the lane centering to be like that nervous early driver behavior, like, oh, I'm kind of over here. So I wouldn't mind like a little bit more refinement from that. But generally speaking, this thing is a great commuter, and again, shockingly fun to drive. That's what I think about driving the Acura RDX, but what does Sweetie think? Evie's at the wheel. As you pull out here, just tell me, how's low speed maneuverability with the RDX?
I don't usually notice things like how well a vehicle steers, but this one felt exceptionally maneuverable at slow speed. Yet when I got going fast, it didn't feel
Darty?
Yeah,
That's the variable steering ratio. As you accelerate, go as fast as you want. Did you get the power you needed?
I did, because that guy was coming fast.
Based on how far he is behind us now, I think you had all the acceleration you needed and then some. Any visibility issues?
Visibility is good all around with the exception of over my left shoulder. I'm 5'2", I sit very far forward. This huge pillar is in my view.
From a driving perspective, are there any game killers that would keep you from driving an Acura RDX if we were in the market for a compact premium SUV?
No game killers here.
Excellent, I'm getting back in the driver's seat. Let's move on to remarks. We have a standard 10.2-inch screen. It's mounted high, close to my view. And then over here in the gauge cluster, we have a standard 7-inch digital information display in the middle, flanked by analog gauges. And I'll be honest, I like analog gauges, but this is the real question.
The way the menus are laid out is really easy to understand. However, I never really adapted to this interface. If you want to touch in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you touch in the upper right-hand corner of this one. Once you get a couple layers deep and there's a ton of options on the screen, I found it difficult to select the item I wanted to.
The philosophy of the True Touch pad goes out the window when you use Apple CarPlay. It's more of like a scroll kind of approach. Going back and forth between those two philosophies, it will take some adaptation. One new feature for 2025, Apple CarPlay is now available in a full screen mode. So the way the display works is you've got like a little side display on the right that makes a fun snake jazz sound when you go back and forth. And then you have the main display on the left. Now you can do full screen Apple CarPlay if and you want. We have the optional 360-degree camera system. I think that would be more useful if it was a little bit bigger, and I'm not sure how exactly we could achieve that, but I found it a little bit difficult to be like, hey, how close am I to those trash cans?
I wish that when you go from reverse to drive, it would stay on the screen. I kept having to use the camera button.
I mentioned earlier enjoying the lighting inside the vehicle when I got in at night. They have an optional feature called Iconic Drive interior lighting. There are 27 themes, many of which are based around real locations. If you like Monaco or whatever, hey, there's some lighting.
What's Monaco?
Kiddo, one of these days when you're a high roller, you'll find out. Quickly recapping all of the updates for 2025, they've updated the grille. There are some new exterior colors. We have bigger cup holders and larger center console area. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto can now be used in a widescreen mode. And if you go with the advanced package, it is a full leather interior plus fancier interior lighting. Collectively, these are not massive updates, but better is better. And now let's take a look under the hood in a test inspired by my buddy Brian. Here's how you open the hood on an Acura RDX. Boy, I like those little struts that make it easy to lift up. Here's where you check the oil level. Here's where you add oil. And over on the left side, that's where you can add washer fluid. And if you're wondering what the horn sounds like, all right, let's talk engine choices. The only engine in the RDX is a 2-liter, 4-cylinder turbocharged unit. All-wheel drive with a 10-speed automatic transmission comes standard. Premium fuel is recommended. And if you want to tow, it maxes out at a dainty 1,500 pounds.
Sweetie.
Uh-huh.
Will you share our trim recommendation?
You're darn tootin' right I will. Our trim recommendation is which Acura RDX trim will give you the features you'd regret not getting, but at the lowest possible price. The base RDX trim covers all the bases, including 12-way power heated front seats, dual zone climate control, a panoramic moonroof, a power liftgate, and smart key access. If you're ready to buy an RDX of your very own, click the Kelley Blue Book pricing link in the description below to learn what you can get for trade-in on your current car and what you should spend on an Acura RDX. As for competitors, we got the BMW X3, Audi Q5, Lexus NX, and the Mercedes-Benz GLC. And against that group, the RDX stacks up really favorably in terms of equipment, price, and power. Did we miss any remarks? If so, tell us in the comment section. And yes, if one of those remarks is don't use the phrase darn tootin' in a video, I accept that. Let's move on now to our daughter's time to shine. Kiddo, can you tell us what is your favorite feature in the Acura RDX?
The red on the car. And you might be wondering, is it on the inside or outside? Well, as you can see, it's on the inside.
I really like how Acura offers a few different interior themes. There's like white, espresso, there's black, and of course, brilliant red. And that red stitching really helps set things off. Very sporty for sporty people like us. Family, I think we've done a good job reviewing the Acura RDX. May have a 5 and a 5. And you, come get your high five. Blammo! And now please enjoy our AI-generated Acura RDX synopsis song.
Cruising down the highway,